That's what we call the institutional context. The rules, legislation that may help or hinder. These things, all things around you. Other organizations that may compete, that may help, that may hinder. These are things around you. So you look at the institutional context and you translate that in opportunities and threats. Whatever helps out there is often considered an opportunity. Whatever may hinder is considered a threat. External. This is internal, inside the organization. You assess the capacity inside your organization. Meaning, here you look at the 6 circles, the yellow and green ones, where you talk about what kind of strategy, is the strategy clear and straightforward, are the systems efficient, is there a logical task distribution, is there a functional structure in place, leadership style, is that good, motivational staff, and is the culture within the organization conducive for whatever the organization wants to do. Organization assessment, and that brings you to weaknesses and strengths, internal. When we talk about organization problems in general, about sustainability, we said there are a number of issues that you may want to focus on. It is about whether you're doing the right thing, whether the finance resources are in balance with what you want to achieve, whether your environment is enabling, and whether the needs of your beneficiaries are being met. About how you work. Where will you find ideas about the what of the organization? Ideas about what the organization is going to do. So you will look at the mission, and you will maybe look at strategic information. So that's one part. Yeah? Where do you need to see whether the ideas are actually being put in practice? So an important thing that you want to figure out when you start your diagnostic process, if you start from a broad question, is to find out what is this organization about, as you very logically did, and what are you actually delivering? How do we call this? Checking whether you deliver what you're actually wanted to do. Input, output, mission. How do we call it? What? Effectiveness. You're actually finding out whether the organization is effective, whether the organization is delivering what it intends to deliver. I would like to facilitate democratic processes in Serbia, and my products are tourist trips to Bermuda. Very nice, but not very effective in achieving the mission. So that is the first part of information that you can look at, effectiveness. There was another point that you raised, and it had to do with financial resources in light of what we achieve. Where do we find information about financial resources? Strategy. Most of your inputs come from outside, as opposed to private sector enterprises that generate their own profits and finances. Maybe you are, to a certain extent, self-financing, I don't know that, but your inputs often come from donors or well-wishers or whatever, trust funds. So you look at inputs. Are we meeting the needs of beneficiaries? What information are you going to look for if you want to answer the question whether or not you are meeting the needs of your beneficiaries? You try to find actors. Who are the beneficiaries? What else? Actors. Are we meeting the needs of beneficiaries? What do you need to know? You need to know who are the beneficiaries? What do they need? It's about relevance. Who are the actors? What do they need? And outputs. What do we deliver? And that indeed is something that we would call relevance. Are we being relevant? Are we still meeting the needs of the target group? These are three important performance criteria that all contribute to the sustainability of your organization. And these are the three most important ones. The three most often, you can think of maybe some others, but these are the three key ones. Are you relevant? If we are relevant, are you being effective? Are you delivering? And are you delivering without wasting too much money? At this point in time, at the very beginning of the diagnostic process, we're not going too deep yet. We're trying to understand, what are you guys trying to deliver? How much money are you spending for it? And are you actually delivering it? And how does it relate to the needs of target groups? Are we still being relevant? These three elements we will consider as the first point of attention in your quick. This is what we call the first level of analysis, the quick scan. But what do we actually talk about when we talk about capacity? I'm not talking about capacity, I'm just talking about resources versus mission. Your resources are part of your capacity. But there is more to it. It's not only the availability of resources that determines your capacity, but also the way you use it. Yeah? So the way you have organized all these internal elements together with the resources that you have, it's basically your capacity, your organizational capacity. You will see that from this quick scan we see already a number of very important elements with regard to the performance of an organization. This is what we call performance criteria. How relevant is the organization? How effective is the organization? How efficient is the organization? How can we ensure the effectiveness of that organization in delivering these particular services to that target group? This is what we call a basic question. This describes the purpose of your analysis, your diagnostic process. At the end you want to have a plan that tells you how you are going to ensure this effectiveness. This is your starting point. As an advisor, it is extremely important that you get this absolutely crystal clear, so that you're not analyzing something while the other organization expects something else. But also as a manager, when you're doing it for your own organization, it's important to focus on, hey, what do I really want to know this time? Because this question tells you what kind of information you will need when you do this and that. Now I need to find information from the context that is having an influence on the effectiveness. And I need information from inside that affects the effectiveness. Yeah, so it guides the rest of your diagnosis.